In July of 1972, me and my family embarked on one of the greatest adventure vacations. We went to the Yellowstone, Tetons, Montana, Wyoming area, and this is what we saw. As a young child, I had my curiosity piqued. There is no doubt about that. Our vehicle was a baby blue big Ford LTD right behind mom and dad with the black vinyl top. Here we are in the Badlands, but let me back to where our love of the mountains and the Montana area came from. Back in 1910, the year my grandfather was born, his oldest brother, Dick Denman, married a woman named May in southern Indiana, and they decided to go west. And I think they caught a train and went all the way to Oregon on a train. After spending some time in Oregon, they decided they wanted to go to the West Yellowstone area, and they got a covered wagon, and went from Oregon to the West Yellowstone area in a covered wagon and started a homestead. Then later on, after a few years there, they moved further northeast up into a place called Forsyth, Montana. And that is a place that my grandfather, John Denman, in 1929, after he graduated from high school, there was no work to be found, so he hitchhiked out to Montana to work for his brother at a general store in Forsyth, Montana. He did not like the cold weather of the winters. My grandfather ended up making a couple trips back and forth before he came back and started dating my grandma Vivian, and that they got married and settled in the Winslow area. But that is where the fascination with Montana came from. Remember, this is July, and we are now having a snowball fight. This is what I think they call the Beartooth Highway, Red Lodge Cook City Highway, some people call it. It goes up above tree line, and at this time of the year, there's still a lot of snow up there. Not for sure the elevation. The last trip that me and Stacy made, this area was closed. We could not go through there because of flooding that washed out the road. But it was the preferred route to come from the Billings, Montana area into Yellowstone, and the route that my grandpa always wanted to drive. You can see the runoff coming down through the creek here from the melting snow. You can notice I've got some great clothes here from period back in the 70s. My grandmother, Vivian, always carried her pocketbook with her. It always seemed to contain all the proper things that we might need, especially as a young kid. But my favorite part, besides just the scenery, is the animals. That was always something that I enjoy seeing anytime I go out west into the Yellowstone area. Here, the two big bull moose that we saw. As a kid, I had a moose call and I was blowing it for all I could. Then you have the scenery with the tremendous waterfalls. But of course, my grandpa's saying was always come out and pee on the bears. We're going to go see bears and you're going to pee on the bears. I don't really know where that came from, but that was always something. Anytime we were Yellowstone or the Smokies and we were bears around, we wanted me to pee on the bears. But here we are at Old Faithful in Yellowstone, and I want to reiterate that we're 1972. This is the 100-year anniversary of Yellowstone. And then when me and Stacy went out just in 2022 in September, we got to see Yellowstone at the 150-year mark. I've also made a trip to Yellowstone, where there's a picture from it there, from in 1986, and that was a trip that I made with a friend of mine, and so I just want to make sure that everyone understands the fascination and hope that you go as many times as you possibly can. There's the Tetons, beautiful place, and what I want to make sure is that please somebody in my family try to make it to uh, the Yellowstone for the 200 year back in the or up in the year 2072. That would be an ultimate request on my part. That was a truck from '86 we took, and we end with a picture of present day 2010 Tundra.